Japan, a beautiful country that's home to the most beautiful things on this earth. Number 1, anime. Personally, my favourites are Pokemon and Beyblades. Number 2, cars. You know, they've got some beautiful cars, the Toyota Supra and the Nissan GTR to name a few. Number 3 is music. These are some of my personal favourites, especially bandmade. I mean, just look at them. They're just beautiful. Please marry me, Miku. But the fourth and final thing is Suzuka. Now, don't get me wrong, it's great to watch, you know, it produces some good racing and it's a very technical track. But on F1 games, nah, I can't be about that. But anyway guys, welcome back to the XRL highlights. Today we are around the Japanese Grand Prix, as you can probably imagine, and in the previous one, towards the end, I said there's Street Circuit bad and then there's Suzuka bad. I mean, for me, this track is awful to drive and I can't seem to get it right. Like, I don't even know what's wrong with it. I just don't enjoy driving it. Like, I just don't have a good time racing around here. But as you saw from the weather report, it is raining the whole way through qualifying, inters the whole way through, and then it's raining at the start of the race, so we might be running on the inters, but we're not too sure yet. And first lap, I make a meal of the first corner. I mean, fair play to that guy, you know, being off the track to let me pass him, but it kind of threw me off a little bit, but I can't really excuse that for me just being an idiot. But for the rest of this lap, not really much happened. I was just really slow, and my first lap was a 1:44, which wasn't very impressive at all. You know, it was quite slow, and finishing my lap, I decided to let Boothie go past because I knew he was going to be starting his lap, and then after that, I kind of just got stuck because I didn't know if any of these people were on laps or off laps, and at this point, I'm just stuck. I'm parked like an absolute passenger. You know, I'm having to let all these cars go past, trying to find a gap. I mean, I'm literally sat here for a good 30 to 40 seconds, just like, when's the gap coming? Is it coming next? Is it coming next? I'm looking at the map. Okay, now I can go. This guy's just come out of the pit lane, but I'll let him go. And now I'm finally able to actually get on with my business. But that's not the only thing that happened on the cooldown lap. As people are off left, right and centre, I'm taking this nice and slow because, you know, there's yellows everywhere. Classic's back up in front of me, and I've got Retro right behind me on a lap, and I don't want to impede him. And I basically force Classic out the way just so I don't impede him. I get a grid penalty for basically being a lifesaver and pushing Classic out the way. But as you can tell, our laps aren't that impressive and we're towards the bottom. I don't know if Retro actually got impeded on that much, but it wasn't really my fault because I physically dove out the way, so it's whatever. But on my second lap, Retro was parked there, he must have had a spin, and that kind of threw me off a little. You know, mind games again brings me back to the Belgian Grand Prix. I just need to put these things straight behind me and focus on what's in front of me, and that got me impeded. But as we go to start another lap, I run slightly wide at the first corner, and it's invalidating me again, like, but this is the thing, is like, it was actually slower than my first lap, but that wasn't invalidated, yet this one was, so that just kind of sums up my experience with this track. But as I'm getting a bit desperate, I'm in P15, I finally get the first corner right. Look at that, second up straight away, I will take that. And the rest of the lap was pretty okay. I kind of missed the apex of 130 yard a little bit. I had to lift off slightly because I just wanted to finish this lap and make sure it was, you know, enough to kind of get through to Q2. So as we come across the line, I'm about a second up, could have been more, but I go 14th on a 1:42.9, which was just enough for P15. I mean, those are the times that were above me. For some reason, I didn't look at the times below me like an absolute idiot, but, you know, it was pretty close. If I remember right, it was like literally just under a tenth, which was really close. But going into Q2, I'd start my lap and just cut the corner, which was a bit frustrating because there goes one of my flying laps straight away. But on my second flying lap, I didn't cut the corner this time. About the same as what I was, and you know what, I've just gained 3/10 through that corner, so that was lovely. But then I touched the curb on the inside of the long left-hander, which goes uphill, and that is me, you know, spun. That's the end of my lap straight away. I stay off the track, let a couple of people past, and I'm on my merry way. Now is third time the charm. Can I get this lap right? No. Straight, missed the first apex, the first corner, lap invalidated, and at this point I'm ready to throw my controller. But with 2 minutes left in the session, I've probably got 2 chances at a lap, and I've done 3 already, and none of them are good. So going into this first corner, have I actually nailed it? Yeah, you know what? That's pretty good. I'll take that one. And during the rest of the first sector, I was slowly gaining a bit of time. And hold on, what the fuck is that? Right, Jono hasn't raced for about 6 weeks. He's been in Africa working, basically had no internet connection, couldn't do anything at all. He comes back to his first race and slaps a purple like that. I don't think so. I think something's going funny here. Something's definitely a bit fishy. But I tell you what is fishy, my back end, as I make an absolute meal of the hairpin yet again, but through 130R, you know, slight lift off again, just wanted to make sure I completed this lap for once. And as we go through the final chicane, I've not really got a good understanding of where this lap actually is, because my lap is like 30 seconds up on what it should be, so, but as I cross the line I do a 1:41.5, which at the time was good enough to P9. I dropped down to P10 and I'm thinking, how the fuck have I managed to pull that lap out my arse? But then suddenly I go from P10 to P8 and I'm like, what? I didn't understand it at all, but turns out 2 drivers actually crashed out on their cooldown laps that were faster than me, and have ended up putting me into P8, and I'm thinking, Quidzen, you know, I'm sat here like, you know, I'm gonna throw a bigger party than Jamie Vardy, because I did not expect to get out of Q1, never mind make it to Q3, and I'm having a right good time here, celebrating, and Classic goes, hold up, why are you now in 11th place? And I'm thinking, hey, well that's not right. There wasn't enough drivers to put me down into 11th, so that can't be right. But it turns out that Rem posted a faster lap than me, so he goes into P7, I go from P8 to P9, and because the 2 drivers that crashed out did post a faster lap than me, I dropped to P11, they're 9 and 10, and then they obviously can't continue in Q3. So that was a bit of a wounder, because I ended up being P11, 5 place grid penalty, puts me into 16th, and basically all my hard work in quali is out the window, so that kind of sucks. But what sucks even more is Jono's P1 again. He gets pole. He's not even been here for 6 weeks. How? But as for the Toro Rosso boys, both out in Q2, starting P14 and 16 I believe, so you know, it's not, could be worse. And as for the weather, it's raining at the minute, but it's not enough to require into, so it's straight soft to mediums, and with that it's 5 lights and away we go. And as you can imagine, pretty decent start again. I've just mugged off everybody straight up into 13, Stumpy slow, up to P12, and at this point I go round the outside, just dip into the grass, and that's me spawn into the middle of the track, and I'm in last place. And you know, it was a good start, and everyone was kind of slow on the inside, so I thought I'd try and hang it around the outside, but I braked slightly too late, and I didn't want to turn in either too early, otherwise, you know, I'd face contact, so that's just my own fault, but oh well, just gotta make up the ground. And this is what it's like from Stumpy's POV. You can see I absolutely slingshot past them all and only just get it slightly wrong, and that's me round. But because I had spun at the start, you know, not a lot is happening now. I'm just kind of lumbering around by myself. A couple of people are bitting because of damage, but besides that, there's not a lot really happening. But whilst I'm sat there doing nothing at the back of the field, Whippy gets a nice little run on Rem, as Rem makes a bit of a meal of the spoon, and it's a simple overtake before he's even made it to 130R, so fair play to him. That's him up into P7. And then the following lap, Snake is struggling with his medium tyres. Whippy tries to go side by side round the long left-hander, and Snake actually backs out, slides Whippy straight up into P6, and that's a good couple of sectors for him there. But for me, you know, coming up to the end of lap 4, still nothing much happening, as Boothie is off on the track on the final corner. I'm not too sure what's happened there, but he's had a bit of a shocker, and that is me up into P16, and it's a virtual safety car as Boothie is disqualified. What's happened there? I'm going to let Asda tell us what happened.
I think Boothie is actually going to try and get past enough Classic, because he's right on his gearbox. I mean, he's practiced. Oh! The bump has claimed one! I told you! Oh no! Boothie spun round. What is he? He got disqualified for going the wrong way.
So yeah, Boothie kind of dropped it on the bump coming out of the final corner and then decided to reverse to try and get back into the pits to save himself some time, but it's clearly not worked as he got disqualified, so that's another place for me. I'm up into P16, kind of hoping it was a safety car, but oh well. And as this is going on, the two McLarens are on track next to each other. I don't really know why Retro's this far down, because he's normally further up the field, but they went side by side through 130R and Patriot comes out on top. But it's becoming a nice little three-way battle for P13. Nothing special, but it's a battle at the end of the day, and Retro tries to go side by side with Patriot through heading towards Spoon. Retro gets past but runs slightly wide. Patriot might try and get back, but he makes the move stick, and at this point I'm right behind Patriot and I'm thinking, yes, max revs, max ERS, let's go. Try and get past him straight away because I don't want to be held up behind him. And we go side by side to 130R and I make the move stick, but I get a warning for track extending, and that's me with the penalty. But I think 3 seconds is worth it because I could have been held up for longer behind Patriot, and I've got Retro just in front of me that I'm going to try and see if I can get past him. And on the following lap, coming out the hairpin, I tried to get a best exit as possible. It was about the same as Retro, and I'm just trying to set myself up for the back straight on 130R again, and I touch the grass and that is me round. I've spun, and it was a very silly error because I touched the grass on the outside and that was me round. I actually took my thumb off my left stick to turn down my fuel, and that basically cost me because I didn't have full control of my wheel, and that was it. And literally the following lap I did the exact same thing again. Am I special? Do I need someone to coach me how to drive here? Because this time I was looking at my tyres and when the best lap to pit was, and I just lost concentration and spun again. So at this point I'm really ready to throw the kitchen sink out the window, not just my controller. And at the end of this lap, I think, forget it, I'm just going to box. Just get a nice new set of tyres, and oh, for God's sake, can someone just take my controller off me? Can someone just drive for me? Because at this point, it's getting ridiculous. It's a simple pit lane, I hit the wall on the inside, and then I get a penalty for speeding. And to make matters worse, I get wing damage, and it's set to auto, so I can't physically change it, because I'm inside the pit lane, and they don't change my wing, so there goes my any hope of lap time on the mediums. Oh, and to make matters worse, I get blue flagged on lap 11, so that's me a lap down now. And at this point I'm just by myself, I'm not doing anything, I'm just hoping for a safety car, to be honest. And oh, Damien's out of the race. Is this going to be a safety car? Nope, it's a VSC, so that doesn't really help me at all, does it? But we're on to lap 18 and still nothing much is happening, but Cookie's managed to catch me up as he's pitted for the softer tyres, is generally quicker than me. He tries to go around the outside through the first sector, I touched the inside curb, and yeah, kind of just lost the back end, and that was it. That's a place lost, and caught my judge looking like he might end up getting past me, and oh my god, Cookie spun in the middle of the track. I had to back out to get an evasive action, and Carp managed to spin on the grass, so that's those two places safe, I guess. But more importantly, it still wasn't a safety car, which was kind of a big blow. You know, I'm still really rising on this safety car, and you know, at this stage I'm just looking for Classic to see what penalties Stumpy had, because they were in a tight battle. And coming out of Race Director, I look behind me and I'm thinking, hey, where's Retro come from? And it was only after checking the footage back that I realised that Retro actually came out of the pits and we had a little like altercation, but no harm came for it, and it just means that I need to be paying more attention when I actually go into Race Director to check these kind of things. But most importantly, Jono is out of the race, who was in like P2 at the time, I think, and we're ready to get lapped by some back markers. But at this stage I'm just begging, please be a safety car, and another VSC. That is the third one in this race and no safety car, like come on. This is really when I need it the most, so I could pit onto the soft tyres and gain my lap back and I'd be quids in. But at this stage, because Retro actually gave the positions to the leaders under full racing conditions, I decided to let them pass during VSC, which meant that I managed to gain a nice little 2-second gap to Retro, so that was kind of cheeky of me, but you know, I need all the help I can get around Suzuka, and I will take these little like bits here and there. But here's what happened to Jono.
No! No! No!
Are you alright?
I'm dead.
Engine off, engine off.
I'm fucking dead. Top of the hill.
Big rips to Jono as it was his first race back, and Classic now bins it, and it's a 4th safety car that's only a virtual. Like, come off it. And here is our reaction to this 4th virtual safety car.
No, I'm out.
You're out. Another VSC, come on! As you can tell, I really wanted this safety car, but you know, on lap 23 we've got a blue flag. Retro's already let him past, and now it's my turn to let him pass, so I slow down and I'm looking in my mirrors. As soon as he gets past me, I'd launch it and just give Retro enough room before the hairpin, and then he dives it up the inside. I give him plenty of room and hope to get him back on the run down to Spoon, and I am not making this mistake for the 3rd time, but Retro seems to go a little bit wonky and I had to back out there, and then that's kind of it for my chances, because with my front wing being gone I can't quite get the exit out of Spoon that I wanted, and that's him off into the distance. So a bit disappointing that I had to back out because it looked like he had a bit of a twitch on, but these things happen and I'm not too bothered anyway. He was going to get past me eventually. But after that, not much happened. I'd boxed to get some new tyres just to make it to the end of the race, and I crossed the line in P15, which, yeah, wasn't too bad. Congrats to King Pleb who won the race, and Myler for getting a podium, and Whippy, which I believe is his first podium of the season as well, so congrats to all of them. But for me, you know, if you would have said at the start of the weekend, yeah, you would have actually finished the Japanese Grand Prix, then I would have been like, yeah, I will happily take that. And, you know, there was plenty of mistakes in there and a lot of clumsiness and silliness, and ended up finishing a lap down, but at least I finished the race, you know. I absolutely hate this circuit with a passion to drive, so the fact that I finished it, you know, I will happily take it. As for Toro Rosso, bit of a day to forget because none of us got any points, but I believe it is the first time that we've got no points as a team. As for the standings though, it's starting to become a 3-way battle for the drivers' title, with the others starting to slip away, and I just stay put in 11th. But as for the constructors though, still very close to the top between Renault and Red Bull. Racing Point in an easy 3rd place. Toro Rosso have dropped to 8th because Williams, with the race win, jumped straight back up to 6th place. But yeah, that's it for the Japanese Grand Prix. Not many more to go. I believe there's 4 races left. The next one being Mexico, which is the home of the league, so that'll be an interesting one. Hopefully we can get a result out of it. But yeah, hopefully we can get some results towards the end of the season to try and break back into the top 10 of the drivers. And I think 6th place is really the aim in the constructors, because it is quite close, you know, a couple of good results and we can certainly be there. But me and Classic will work very hard in the next couple of weeks to make sure that we do end the season on a high. But yeah, I think that just about wraps this video up, so thanks for watching as always, and I'll speak to you all later.